house was cheap, too cheap for a quiet neighborhood in Ohio. Ethan didn't ask questions. He had just moved for work. It was late fall and he needed a place fast. The first night was silent. No creaks, no footsteps, no shadows. Until 2:17 a.m., Ethan woke up to the sound of knocking. Not on the front door, not on the windows, from inside the walls. 3 slow knocks, then silence. He sat up in bed, holding his breath. Knock, knock, knock. This time he closer, like it was coming from the wall right behind his head. Ethan whispered, "Hello." The knocking stopped, and then a voice answered back. Not loud, not angry, just calm. "I know you can hear me." Ethan didn't sleep the rest of the night, because every time he closed his eyes, the wall behind him felt warmer. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed until sunrise. The knocking didn't return, but the silence felt worse, like the house was waiting. At 6:12 a.m., his alarm went off. He flinched so hard his phone fell to the floor. He laughed nervously. "You're losing it," he told himself. The walls looked normal in daylight. Clean paint, no cracks, no vents near the bed. Still, the spot where the knocking came from felt different, warmer. Ethan pressed his palm against the wall. For a second, nothing. Then a faint vibration, like breathing. He pulled his hand back fast. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Work emails, coffee, distractions. But every time he thought about the house, his chest tightened. That night, he locked his bedroom door. At 1:46 a.m., he woke up again. Not to knocking, to whispering. It wasn't coming from one place. It was everywhere, inside the walls, the ceiling, even the floor. Too low to understand. Ethan covered his ears. The whispering stopped instantly. Then came a single sentence, spoken clearly right behind the wall. "You don't have to be afraid anymore." Ethan shouted, "Who is this?" Silence. Then the voice replied, softer now. "We've been alone for a very long time." The wall behind the bed slowly creaked inward. Just a little. Enough for Ethan to see something dark moving inside. He grabbed his phone and ran. Outside in the cold night air, he looked back at the house. Every light was off, except one. His bedroom, and the wall where his bed was now had the faint outline of a handprint pushing outward from the inside. Ethan didn't go back inside that night. He sat in his car across the street until morning, watching the house like it might move on its own. At sunrise, the handprint was gone. No crack. No dent. No sign anything had ever touched the wall. That scared him more than the handprint itself. Inside, the house smelled different. Metallic. Old. Ethan decided to find out who lived there before him. At the county record's office, the woman at the desk frowned when he gave the address. "That property," she paused. "Are you sure you're living there alone?" "Yes," Ethan said. "Why?" She clicked through her screen slowly. "The last tenant was a man named Robert Hale. Moved in 2 years ago." "What happened to him?" The woman hesitated. "He was reported missing." Ethan swallowed. "Missing? How?" "They never found him," she said quietly. "His car was still in the driveway. Phone on the kitchen counter. Front door locked from the inside." Ethan's stomach dropped. "Did anyone hear anything? Screaming? A break-in?" She shook her head. "No, but neighbors reported something strange." "What?" "They said Robert used to talk to his walls." That night, Ethan searched the house. Every room felt smaller than before, but walls closer, like the house had leaned in. Behind a loose panel in the hallway, he found scratches. Deep. Uneven, like fingernails. Carved into the wood were 3 words. "IT answers back." Ethan stumbled away. Then he heard it. Not knocking this time. Tapping. From inside the hallway wall. Slow. Patient. Tap. Ethan whispered, "Robert." The tapping stopped. Then the voice came, familiar now. Calm, close. He didn't want to be alone anymore either. The lights flickered. The hallway wall bulged outward. And from inside the wall, something pressed its face forward, stretching the paint thin enough for Ethan to see the shape. The mouth. It whispered one final thing that night. "You talk to us now." Ethan didn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt the house listening. At 3:03 a.m., the whispering returned, not from the walls this time, but from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Bare. Ethan opened his bedroom door. The hallway was longer than before. It stretched farther than it should have, the end disappearing into darkness. "Hello," Ethan called. The word didn't echo. was swallowed. He took one step forward. The walls breathed, not visibly, but audibly. A soft inhale, then exhale. Halfway down the hallway, a door stood open. That door wasn't there before. Ethan knew every inch of this house now. He was sure of it. The room beyond was small. No windows, no furniture, just walls, covered in names, hundreds of them. Carved, scratched, written in blood, charcoal, pencil, some old, some fresh. At the center of the room was one name. Larger than the rest, Robert Hale below it. A new space had been cleared. The wall behind Ethan shifted. A whisper slid along his ear. "Go ahead." Ethan's voice trembled. "What do you want from me?" The house answered, not as a voice, but as many voices layered together. "We keep each other company." Ethan backed away. The doorway shrank. The hallway shortened violently, snapping back to its normal length. The door slammed shut. When Ethan turned around, he was back in his bedroom. The clock read 3:04 a.m. 1 minute had passed. His phone buzzed. A new message, unsent draft, written from his own number. "You're not alone anymore." Ethan looked at the wall behind his bed. A thin line appeared. Then another, cracks spreading, not outward, but inward from the inside of the wall. Fingertips began to push through. Ethan didn't scream. He couldn't. The fingertips pushing through the wall behind his bed weren't violent. They were slow, careful, like the house was afraid of hurting him. He backed away until his knees hit the bed. "Stop," he whispered. The fingers froze, then gently, they pulled back. The wall sealed itself like skin. The house spoke, softer than ever. "We don't." "Take." Ethan's voice shook. "Then what do you do?" A pause, long, heavy. Then the truth came out, not as words, but as memories. The house showed him everything. It wasn't always a house. Decades ago, the land held a care facility, a quiet place where people with no family were sent. Patients who talked too much, patients who heard things, patients no one visited. When the facility shut down, they were locked inside. Left. The building was torn down later, but something stayed. Not ghosts, loneliness. It soaked into the ground, into the wood, into the walls. The house wasn't haunted. It was hungry for voices. Robert Hale was the first to hear it clearly. At first, it only answered back. Then it asked questions. Then it needed him to stay. Robert didn't disappear, the house said. He listened. Ethan felt tears burn his eyes. "What happens to me?" The hallway lights flickered on. The door at the end opened, the impossible room again. This time, one name glowed faintly on the wall. Ethan Carter, still unfinished. "You can leave," the house said. Hope exploded in his chest. But it continued. "We won't be alone anymore if you stay." Ethan stepped back. The house waited, patient, kind. That scared him more than anything. From inside the walls, he heard whispers, dozens of voices now. Not screaming, begging. "Please don't leave. Stay. Talk to us. We remember you." Ethan ran for the front door. It opened easily, too easily. Outside, the street looked normal. Cars passed. People walked dogs. Life went on. Behind him, the house said one last thing, calm and loving. "You can come back anytime." Ethan didn't look back. He drove away. By morning, he listed the house online. Available immediately, below market value. Within an hour, it had dozens of inquiries. At night, as Ethan lay in a motel bed, his phone buzzed. A notification from an unknown number. Welcome home. Attached was a photo of a man unlocking the front door of the house. And behind him, in the reflection of the hallway wall, Ethan saw his own face, listening. Ethan tried to forget. Weeks passed, then months. He moved to another state, changed his number, stopped sleeping with the lights off. He told himself the house was behind him, until one night at 17 a.m., his phone vibrated. A voicemail. No number, no timestamp, just audio. He almost deleted it, almost. Then he heard his own breathing, slow, close, recorded from inside a room. Then a sound he recognized instantly. 3 soft knocks. Ethan dropped the phone. The message continued playing on the floor. A calm voice spoke, layered, familiar, patient. "You said you'd come back." Ethan locked himself in the bathroom, shaking. He checked the news the next morning. A small article buried at the bottom of a local page. Man reported missing after moving into Ohio home. Neighbors say he was quiet, kept to himself. often talked late at night. The address was familiar. The house had a new tenant. Ethan scrolled further. There was a photo, blurred image taken at night, the front of the house, and in the upstairs window, a face, not watching the camera, listening. Ethan never answered another unknown call again, but sometimes when he lies awake in silence, he hears it. Not knocking, not whispering, just a gentle pressure in the air, like someone waiting for him to speak first, because the house doesn't chase, it doesn't trap. It waits, and sooner or later, everyone talks to the walls.